hopefully it'll work. I have been struggling for the past week. I guess something changed in my settings on my phone, and it stopped recording after about 22 minutes. I bought a video camera. I can't figure out the SD card, and it won't work. Last week, it divided my 1 hour video up into 2 videos. So I'm going to try going live, and let's see how that works. I'm not expecting anyone to be on here. I'm just going to record it live so that it will be there. Hopefully this will work. So welcome, Lanita, the Scrappy Grandma here. And this is the Torah Portions Bible study playlist. And we're in week 2. And it is Noah, the story of Noah. And it is, the Torah portion reading is Genesis 6, 9 through 11:32. The prophets, the Haftorah is Isaiah 53, 1 through 55, 5. And the Gospels is Luke 1, 1 through 80. Oh, I'm sorry, missed one. There's going to be 4 of them, and I probably won't get them all read because of a time constraint. I don't want this video to go over an hour. But first, there's Mark 9, 40 through 50, and that's a special portion because Sabbath falls on the new moon, and so for the new moon celebration. And then Luke 1, 1 through 80, and 1 Peter 3, 8 through 22, and 2 Peter 2, 4 through 10. I'll read as many as I can until I hit that hour mark. And so, and before we begin, I want to pray. So, Father Yah, please help the technology. It has been such a struggle. And that just lets me know that the enemy really doesn't want this to happen. So this is all for your glory, my King. Father, I pray that everyone that hears this recording and everyone and myself, open our eyes and open our ears as we feast on your word. Teach us how to walk the ancient paths, the narrow path, to walk and live in covenant with you, walking out our life, following your instructions of the Torah. In Yehushua's mighty name, amen. All right, so I'm going to start out with a year through Torah, a week-by-week journey for Christians. I like to start with this because it really helps to kind of set the stage of what we're going to be reading. So it says, secular scholars often claim the story of the flood as a myth, but several ancient documents reveal striking parallels to the account given in the Torah. The most famous of these is the Babylonian Gilgamesh epic. Unlike these other stories, however, the Torah makes clear that the world was not flooded because of a caprice of some god, but because it had become corrupt, destructive, and entirely idolatrous. Moreover, Noah was not arbitrarily saved, but was considered a righteous man, perfect in his generation. Noah walked with Elohim, Genesis 6, 9, like his great-grandfather Enoch walked with Elohim. So last week's Parsha, Bereshit, showed how the fall of Adam and Eve caused humanity to plunge into idolatrous chaos. The wicked generation of Cain and the ungodly mixture of the human and the demonic through the Nephilim, the fallen angels, the watchers, caused the world to be entirely steeped in anarchy and bloodlust, so that every intention and thought of man's heart was only evil continuously, Genesis 6:5. After 9 generations, Yahuwah had had enough and was ready to wipe humanity from the face of the earth. However, Elohim recognized Noah from the line of Seth as a Zadok, a righteous man, and graciously made provision to save him from the wrath to come. So, from my understanding, when the humans and the Nephilim came down and took women and had sexual intercourse with them, and then the giants were born. The giants were cannibals. they ate other humans, and that's what was going on. The generations were, they were, you know, making more and more of them, and then they were eating the humans. And the Father is just completely against the eating of blood. So anyway, it says, these are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and blameless in his generation, and Noah walked with Elohim, Genesis 6:9. And my understanding of that is that his bloodline stayed pure, and that the line of Seth that came down did not mix with the Nephilim. And so the Nephilim that mixed with women through Cain's line, through Cain's line, were hybrids, and they were abominations. They were not created by Elohim. Whereas Seth's line was, they kept their bloodline pure. They did not intermingle with the Nephilim. So Noah's name comes from the Hebrew verb naham, which means rest. He was named by his father Lamech, who said, out of the ground that Yahuwah had cursed, this one shall bring us relief from our work and from the painful toils of our hands. As such, Noah is a picture of the Savior who delivers the world and gives lasting comfort and rest. In our Parsha, Yahuwah revealed to Noah his intention of destroying all the inhabitants of the earth with a great flood, and therefore instructed him to build a 450-foot long, 3-tiered wooden ark, coated within and without with pitch. Noah took his wife, his 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and their wives, and 2 male and female of every sort of unclean animal, and 7 of every clean, into the ark to be sheltered from the coming deluge. Yes, that is something that we have never been, we weren't taught in church growing up. It was always 2 by 2. They went into the ark, and never that. So this shows that they already know, and it's been passed down orally through their blood, through their family line from Shem on down. Because last week it said, Shem, they started calling on the name of Yahuwah, and meaning they were following his ways. And so they already knew about clean and unclean animals. Not all animals are created for food. And so, and how many times have we read the Bible and just passed right on this, that, 2 by 2, they went into the ark, but they had 7 of every clean animal into the ark. So in the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, on the 17th day of the month, all the fountains of the great deep burst forth. That was the other thing, 40 days of rain, but no, the fountains of the earth opened up and water came up from underneath. And the rain began to fall for 40 days and nights. The windows of heaven were opened, as we'll read, and the waters eventually covered the entire earth, overwhelming even the tops of the highest mountains. After 150 days, the water began to recede, and on the 17th day of the 7th month, the ark came to rest on Mount Ararat. From its perch, Noah dispatched a raven and then a series of doves to see if the waters were abated from the face of the earth. And in the 601st year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, on the 27th day of the month, after a stay of 1 year and 11 days, the ground was finally dry. Then Noah removed the ark's covering and built an altar. So see, they already knew about sacrifices. This has been passed down his lineage. So these things aren't for the Jews. These things are for the people of Yahuwah, because Yahuwah taught Adam and Seth and down through the generations his ways, his Torah, before it was written by Moshe, or actually by Yahuwah himself and given to Moses. The Torah was already established in the creation last week. So Noah then removed the ark's covering and built an altar to offer sacrifices to Yahuwah. Yahuwah then made a covenant with Noah and his descendants never to destroy the earth with a flood, and gave the rainbow as a sign. The specific commandments given to Noah and the sons of Noah are detailed in Genesis chapter 9, but may be summarized as follows. The command to be fruitful and multiply, the prohibition of eating blood, and the prohibition of murder, and the instructions of capital punishment. The Parsha then explains the early life of the survivors. Noah began to be a man of the soil, and he planted a vineyard. And he drank of the wine and became drunk and laid uncovered in his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his two brothers outside. Genesis 9:20-22. Now, and this is something that's always been confusing. It's like, why did he curse Canaan just because he saw him laying naked? But this is one of this is something that's been passed down from the sages, which I always take with a grain of salt. I don't take it as gospel, but I do take it with a grain of salt. But it says, according to various sages, Ham saw his father's nakedness meant that Noah's son either sodomized or castrated him, and rendering him impotent. Because Ham stopped Noah from fathering a fourth son, Noah cursed Ham's son Canaan, though he blessed Shem and Japheth, who covered the nakedness of their father. After this, the Parsha describes how the earth was repopulated through Noah's three sons as the founders of the 70 nations. And we're going to learn a lot about the 70 nations through the Torah portions. The 70 nations of the Gentiles, as described in the detailed genealogy of Genesis chapter 10. The descendants of Noah remained a single people group with a single language for 10 generations. However, they eventually returned to their evil ways of the sons of Cain by uniting in an adulterous religion, idolatrous religion, that led them to build a tower. With its top in the heavens, Yahuwah confounded their evil religion, however, by confusing their speech and thereby dispersing the people into the 70 nations of the earth. The abandoned tower was called Babel and is considered by many to be the origin of the mystery Babylon, the mystery religions that don't follow after Yahuwah. The Parsha concludes with a genealogy of the generations from Noah to Terah, a Chaldean, who was the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Now, Haran died in the city of but had a son named Lot, who was made part of Terah's extended family. He adopted him in as a son in replacement of his son who passed. And Abram married Sarai, and Nahor married Milcah. And so there's a genealogy here. So it's got Noah, and then Japheth it doesn't have any, nothing underneath him, but Ham has Cush, Mizraim, which is Egypt, and Canaan. And then Shem, Noah's son, has Arphaxad, Selah, Eber, Peleg, and then it splits after Eber, and then there's Peleg, Ru, Serug, and Terah, and on the other side is Joktan. Under Terah, it has Sarah and Abram, their brother and sister. So these are the children of Terah: Haran, Nahor, Sarai, and Abram. So they are brother and sister by Terah. And then under Haran was Lot and Milcah, his son and daughter. And Milcah married her uncle Nahor, and Nahor adopted Lot. Wait a minute here. Or Terah adopted Lot in his father Haran's place. So, and Lot is is Abram's nephew. So interesting. Abram's father Terah may have originally been called by Yahuwah to inherit the promised land, since he took his sons and his grandson Lot away from of the Chaldeans to go into the land of Canaan. However, he appears to have lost the calling and settled instead in the city of Haran, where he eventually died. Here we once again see Yahuwah's preparing the lineage for the promised seed to come, for Yeshua, the Mashiach, the Savior of the world, Jesus. Just as there were 10 generations from Adam to Noah, so there are 10 generations from Noah to Abraham. Numbers are very important. So the father of the Hebrew people. So let's begin with Genesis 6. 9. This is the genealogy of Noah. Noah was a righteous man, perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with Elohim, just like his great-grandfather Enoch. Doesn't say that. That's my addition. And Noah brought forth 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Or in here it's Japheth, because J actually didn't exist back then. And the earth was corrupt before Elohim, and the earth was filled with violence. And Elohim looked upon the earth and saw that it was corrupt, for all flesh corrupted their way on the earth. And Elohim said to Noah, the end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and I see I am going to destroy them from the earth. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood, make rooms in the ark, and cover it outside and inside with a covering. And down it has a letter A here, and down below it says pitch, tar, or other. Covered it up with sticky stuff. Pitch is mainly what I've heard. So, and this is how you are to make it. The length of the ark is 300 cubits. Its width 50 cubits. So back in the back of my Bible, the scriptures 2009, it actually has weights and measures and what they, so weights here. Where's cubits, units, dry measures, not weight, it would be length, distance length. Here, a cubit is about 17 and a half inches. Cubit, 17 and a half inches. So, do the math. Sorry, I lost my place here. Okay, and make it the length of the ark 300 cubits. So 300 times 17.5. Its width is 50 cubits, and its height is 30 cubits. Make a window for the ark and complete it to a cubit from above, and set the door on the ark in its side. Make it with a lower, second, and third decks. And see, I myself am bringing floodwaters on the earth to destroy all flesh in which is the breath of life from under the heavens. All that is on the earth is to die. And I shall establish my covenant with you, and you shall come into the ark, and your sons and your wife and your sons' wives with you. And all of the living, and of all the living of all flesh, 2 of each you are to bring into the ark to keep them alive with you, a male and a female. Of the birds after their kind, and of the cattle after their kind, and of the creeping creatures of the ground after their kind, 2 of each are to come to you to keep them alive. As for you, take of all food that is eaten and gather it to yourself, and it shall be for food for you and for them. And Noah did according to all that Elohim had commanded him, so he did. 7. And Yahuwah said to Noah, come into the ark, you and all your household, because I have seen that you are righteous before me in this generation. Of all the clean beasts, take with you 7 pairs, a male and his female. Of the beasts that are unclean, 2, a male and a female. The clean and unclean animals weren't, even set until Moses' time. Many generations when actually the Torah was given. So this proves that Yahuwah gave them the instructions long before. This makes me even think of, with Cain and Abel, why Cain knew the instructions and he didn't bring his offering the way that he was instructed to, and that's why the Yahuwah did not accept his offering. This to me here is proof that his instructions were given to Adam and to, at least we know, Seth's family line, and now to Noah, and Noah's passing it up to his. So let's see. Of the birds of the heavens, 7 pairs, male and female, to keep offspring alive on the face of the earth. For after 7 more days I am sending rain on the earth, 40 days and 40 nights, and shall wipe from the face of the earth all that stand that I created. And Noah did according to all that Yahuwah had commanded him. Now Noah was 600 years old when the flood waters were on the earth, and Noah and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives went into the ark because of the waters of the flood. Of the clean beasts and of the beasts that are unclean, and of the birds and of all of the that creep on the earth, two by two they went into the ark. Noah made male and female as Elohim had commanded. And it came to be after 7 days that the waters of the flood were on the earth. And in the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second new moon, the second month, because the new moon creates a new month. In the second new moon, on that day, all the fountains of the great deep were broken up, and the windows of the heavens were opened. And the rain was on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. And that same day, Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife and the 3 wives of his sons with them went into the ark. They and every life form after its kind, and every beast after its kind, and every creeping creature that creeps on the earth after its kind, and every bird after its kind, every bird and every wing. And they went into the ark to Noah 2 by 2 of all flesh, of which is the breath of life. And these going in, male and female of all flesh, went in as Elohim had commanded him, and Yahuwah shut him in. So Yahuwah actually shut the door. And the flood was on the earth 40 days, and the waters increased and lifted up the ark, and it rose high above the earth. And the waters were mighty and greatly increased on the earth, and the ark moved about on the surface of the waters. I remember when I would read the Bible to the kids when they were little in the mornings for breakfast. And I always would, think about this, about all the animals, there had to have been floating bodies of animals and humans and giants. So you have to think, he had been warning them and they didn't listen, kind of like today, we're warning people, Yeshua's coming back soon, and people are still just doing whatever, and they're not interested in getting on the ark, the word, and learning the Torah, so that they can be saved from, when Yeshua returns and, the next destruction happens. But, how it had to have been for Noah and his family in the ark. They're safe, but everything outside the ark died. So, and the waters were exceedingly mighty on the earth, and all the high mountains under all the heavens were covered, and the waters became mighty, 15 cubits upward, and the mountains were covered, and all flesh died. The creeping creatures on the earth, birds and cattle, beasts and every swarming creature that swarms the earth, and all mankind, all of whom's nostrils has breath of the spirit of life. All that was on the dry land died. So he wiped off all that stand, which were on the face of the ground, both men and beasts, creeping creature and bird of the heavens. They were wiped off from the earth, and only Noah was left, and those with him in the ark. And the waters were mighty on the earth 150 days. That's interesting. 150 days. That's probably the year, 1 year and 11 days that it comes to. I'm not going to do, no, 150. Oh, the water, interesting. So I can't do the math right now, so I'm going to have to look into that later. Put a little mark there, question mark. So, and Elohim remembered Noah, and all the beasts and all the cattle were with him in the ark. And Elohim made a wind pass over the earth, and the water subsided, and the fountains of the deep and the windows of the heaven were stopped, and the rains from the heaven was withheld. And the waters receded steadily from the earth, and at the end of the 150 days, the water diminished. Okay, so that's just the water covered the earth for 150 days. And in the 7th new moon, so 2, 3, 4, 5, so 5 months later, the ark rested on the mountain of Ararat, and the waters decreased steadily until the 10th new moon. So 8 months later, in the 10th new moon, on the first day of the new moon, the tops of the mountains became visible. And it came to be at the end of 40 days that Noah opened the window of the ark, which he had made, and he sent out a raven, which kept going and turning back until the waters had dried up from the earth. Then he sent out a dove from him to see if the waters had receded from the face of the ground. But the dove found no resting place for its feet and returned to the ark to him. To the waters for the waters on the earth, the face of all the earth. I'm sorry. For the waters were on the face of all the earth. So he put out his hand and took it and pulled it into the ark to himself. And he waited yet another 7 days. And again he sent out a dove from the ark. And the dove came to him in the evening, and see, a freshly plucked olive leaf was in its mouth. And Noah knew that the waters had receded from the earth. And he waited yet another 7 days, and he sent out the dove, which did not return to him. And it came to be in the 601st year, in the first month, the first day of the new moon, that the waters were dried up from all the earth. And Noah removed the covering of the ark, and looked and saw, and saw the surface of the ground was dry. And in the second new moon, so there's the year, because it started in the second new moon, a year later in the second new moon, on the 27th day, so it was the 17th, so there's on the 27th day of the new moon, the earth was dry. And Elohim spoke to Noah, saying, go out of the ark, you and your wife and your sons' wives with you. Bring out with you every life form of all flesh that is with you, of the birds, the cattle, and all the creeping creatures, and the creeping creatures of the earth, and let them teem on the earth and bear and increase on the earth. So Noah went out with his sons and his wives and his sons' wives with him, and every beast, every creeping creature, and every bird, whatever creeps on the earth according to their kind, went out of the ark. And Noah built a slaughter place to Yahuwah, built an altar, and knew to sacrifice, because he knew the law, knew the Torah, and took of every clean beast, of every clean bird, and offered ascending offerings on the slaughter place. And Yahuwah smelled a soothing fragrance, and Yahuwah said in his heart, never again shall I cause the ground because of man, although the inclination of man's heart is evil from his youth, and never again strike all living creatures as I have done, as long as the earth remains, seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. This is a promise right here. So this whole global warming thing that they're talking about, the Father has promised that seed time and harvest, cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. He says that. So what the world is saying, I believe what he says. And Elohim, 9, and Elohim blessed Noah and his sons and said to them, be fruitful and increase and fill the earth. There's a commandment. And the fear of you and the dread of you is on every beast of the earth and on every bird of the heavens and all that creeps on the ground and all the flesh of the sea. Into your hands they have been given. So before this, they were able to be friendly with the animals. And now, not any longer. Every creeping creature that lives in is food for you. I have given you all as I gave the green plants. So this is interesting here because it says every creeping creature that lives is food for you, but yet there's clean and unclean. But do not eat flesh with its life, its blood. So here's the next. Do not eat the blood, but only your blood for your lives I require. From the hand of every beast I require it, and from the hand of man. This is corporal punishment. If, eye for an eye, life for a life. From the hand of every man's brother, I require a life of man. Whoever sheds man's blood, by man's blood is shed. For in the image of Elohim, he has made man. As for you, be fruitful and increase. Bring forth teemingly in the earth and increase in it. And Elohim spoke to Noah and to his sons with him, saying, I establish my covenant with you and with your seed after you, and with every living being that is with you, of the birds and the cattle and every beast on the earth with you, and all that go out of the ark, every beast of the earth. And I shall establish my covenant with you, and never again is all flesh cut off by the waters of the flood, and never again is there a flood to destroy the earth. And Elohim said, this is the sign of the covenant which I have made between me and you and every living being that is with you for all generations to come. I shall set my rainbow in the cloud, and it shall be for a sign and a covenant between me and the earth. And it shall be when I bring a cloud over the earth, and the rainbow shall be seen in the cloud, and I shall remember my covenant, which is between me and you and every living being of all flesh, and never again let the waters become a flood to destroy all flesh. And the rainbow shall be in the cloud, and I shall see it to remember the everlasting covenant between Elohim and every living being of all flesh that is on the earth. And Elohim said to Noah, this is the sign of the covenant which I have established between me and all flesh that is on the earth. And the sons of Noah who went out of the ark were Shem and Ham and Japheth. And Ham was the father of Canaan. These three were the sons of Noah, and all the earth was overspread from them. And Noah, a man of the soil, began and planted a vineyard, and he drank of the wine and was drunk and became uncovered in his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his two brothers outside. So Shem and Japheth took the garment, laid it on both of their shoulders, and went backwards and covered the nakedness of their father. But their faces were turned away, and they did not see their father's nakedness. And Noah awoke from his wine, and he knew what his younger son had done to him. And he said, cursed is Canaan. Let him become a servant to the servants of his brothers. And he said, blessed be Yahuwah, the Elohim of Shem, and let Canaan become his servant. Let Elohim enlarge Japheth, and let him dwell in the tent of Shem, and let Canaan become his servant. And Noah lived after the flood 350 years. So all the days of Noah were 950 years. And then he died. And this is the genealogy of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And the sons were born to them after the flood. The sons of Japheth were Gomer and Magog. So it's interesting. In that book, it didn't have anything under Japheth. But Gomer and Magog and Madai and Yawan and Tubal and Meshach and Tiras. And the sons of Gomer were Ashkenaz. Interesting. Ashkenaz. And Riphath and Togarmah. And the sons of Yawan, Elisha, and Tarshish. Interesting. Tarshish, Saul of Tarshish becomes a place. Kittim and Dodan. A lot of these places actually become named, the places where in the land are named after a lot of these. Because like Magog is a place, and Kittim, I think, is a place. And Dodanim. And from these, the coastland peoples of the nations were separated into the lands, everyone according to his language, according to their clans, into their nations. And the sons of Ham, Cush, and Mitzrayim, and Put, and Canaan. So basically, they were allotted territories. They were given their inheritance, certain territories. And this is one of the problems, is that Japheth was given the territory of the promised land, but Ham actually went and didn't go settle where his descendants, where they were told to. They actually went up and took land that didn't belong to them. That's where they had to drive out the Canaanites to go into the promised land, because they were basically squatting. They illegally took possession of that land. So here it really goes through where everyone was supposed to be. From the coastland peoples of the nations were separated into their lands. So these were separated into their lands, everyone according to his language, according to their clans, unto their nations. And the sons of Ham, Cush and Mitzrayim, which is Egypt, and Put and Canaan. And the sons of Cush, Seba and Hawilah, and Sabta and Rama and Sabtika. And the sons of Rama, Sheba and Dedan. Sorry, there we go. Decline the call. And Cush brought forth Nimrod. Nimrod's going to be a big player here. He began to be a mighty one on the earth. He was a mighty hunter before Yahuwah. Therefore it is said, like Nimrod, the mighty hunter before Yahuwah. And the beginning of his reign was Babel, and Erech, and Akkad, and Kelna, and the land of Shinar, in the land of Shinar. From the land he went to Ashur and built Nineveh, and Roboth, and Keilah, and Resen between Nineveh and Keilah, the great city. And Mitzrayim, which is Egypt, brought forth, Mitzrayim is his name, but then obviously, Mitzrayim becomes Egypt, brought forth Ludim and Anamim and Lahabim and Naphtuhim and Pathrasim and Kashlahim, from whom came the Philistines. and the Caphtorim. And Canaan brought forth Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth, and the Jebusites, and the Amorite, and the Girgashites. So these are all, remember Canaan? These are all the people that are going to be, they're going to have to go in and remove, because they ended up going up into the area that didn't belong to them. And the Hivites, and the Archite, and the Sinites, and the Ardulites, and the Tismarites, and the Hamathite. And afterward, the clans of the Canaanites were spread abroad. And the border of the Canaanites was from Sidon as you go towards Gerar, as far as Azza, as you go towards Sodom and Amorah, Sodom and Amorah, Sodom and Gomorrah, and Abna and Tishaboam, as far as Lasha. These were the sons of Ham, according to their clans, according to their languages, in their lands, in their nations. And also to Shem, the father of the children of Eber, and the brother of Japheth, and the elder children were born. The sons of Shem, Elam and Asher, and Arpachshad, and Lud, and Aram. And the sons of Aram, Utz, and Hul, and Gether, and Mash. And Arpachshad brought forth Selah, and Selah brought forth Eber. And to Eber were born two sons. The name of one was Peleg, for in his day the earth was divided, and his brother's name was Yoktan. And Yoktan brought forth Alamad, and Shelaf, and Hasmarwath, and Yarov, and Hadrah, and Uzal, and Dekla, and Obal, and Amrath, and Sheba, and Ophir, and Hawilah, and Yobad. All of these were the sons of Yoktan. And their dwelling place was from Mesha, as you go towards Sephir, a mountain of the east. These were the sons of Shem, according to their clans, according to their languages, in their lands, according to their nations. These were the clans of the sons of Noah, according to their generations, in their nation. And from these nations were divided on the earth after the flood. 11. And all the earth had one language and one speech, and it came to be, as they set out from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said to each other, "Come, let us make bricks and bake them thoroughly." And they made bricks for stone, and they had asphalt for mortar. And they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower whose top is in the heaven, and make a name for ourselves." So they are now wanting to glorify themselves. "Lest we be scattered over the face of the earth." But what was the command? Go out, be fruitful and multiply. Go out and subdue the earth, not clump together. When Yahuwah came down to see that the city and the tower which the sons of men had built, and Yahuwah said, "Look, they are one people, and they all have one language, and this is what they begin to do. And now they are not going to be withheld from doing whatever they plan to do. Come, let us go there and confuse their language, so that they do not understand one another's speech." And so, like it said in the commentary, they actually had developed Nimrod, to worship Nimrod, because he was a mighty man. And some say that he was even one of the giants from the Nephilim. And it was, so all of the Nephilim are all supposed to be, and the giants are all supposed to be dead now, but we'll find later that there's still going to be, with what's his name? David and Goliath. There's still giants after the flood. And I forget where I read it, but one of, I think it's Ham's wife, had mixed, she was a hybrid. And so she brought that into, and Yahuwah scattered them from there over the face of the earth, and they left off building the city. And that is why the name is called Babel, because there Yahuwah confused their language of all the earth, and from there Yahuwah scattered them over the face of the earth. This is the genealogy of Shem. Shem was 100 years old. So this is the godly genealogy. The genealogy of Shem. Shem was 100 years old and brought forth Arpachshad 2 years after the flood. And after he brought forth Arpachshad, Shem lived 500 years and brought forth sons and daughters. And Arphaxad lived 35 years and brought forth Selah. And after he brought forth Selah, Arphaxad lived 403 years and brought forth sons and daughters. Notice the years that they live are getting less and less and less. And Selah lived 30 years and brought forth Eber. And after he brought forth Eber, Selah lived 403 years and brought forth sons and daughters. And Eber lived 34 years and brought forth Peleg. And after he brought forth Peleg, Eber lived 430 years and brought forth sons and daughters. And Peleg lived 30 years and brought forth Reu. And after he brought forth Reu, Peleg lived 209 years and brought forth sons and daughters. And Reu lived 200 years and brought forth, 32 years and brought forth Sirug. And after he brought forth Sirug, Reu lived 207 years and brought forth sons and daughters. And Sirug lived 30 years and brought forth Nahor. And after he brought forth Nahor, Sirug lived 200 years and brought forth sons and daughters. And Nahor lived 29 years and brought forth Terah. And after he brought forth Terah, Nahor lived 119 years and brought forth sons and daughters. And Terah lived 70 years and brought forth Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And this is the genealogy of Terah. Terah brought forth Abraham, Nahor, and Haran brought forth Lot. And Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his birth in Kasdim. And Abram and Nahor took wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and so that's his sister. And Nahor's wife was Milcah, which is his niece from Haran, who died. And the father of Milcah, and the father of Yitzhak. And Sarai was barren; she had no children. And Terah took his son Abram and his grandson Lot of Haran, and his daughter-in-laws Sarai, and his son Abram's wife, and they went out with them from Kasdim to go to the land of Canaan. And they came to Haran and dwelt there. And the days of Terah came to be 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. So next is Isaiah 53:1 through 55:5. So, who has believed our report, and to whom was the arm of Yahuwah revealed? For who grew up before him as a tender plant and as a root out of dry ground? He has no form or splendor that we should look upon him, nor appearance that we should desire him. This is all talking about Yeshua, Jesus, despised and rejected by men, a man of pains and knowing sickness, and as one from whom the face is hidden, being despised, and we did not consider him. Truly, he has borne our sickness and carried our pains, yet we reckoned him smitten, stricken by Elohim and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions, and he was crushed for our crookedness, and the chastisement of our peace was upon him, and by his stripes we are healed. We all like sheep went astray, each one of us turned his own way, and Yahuwah has laid on him the crookedness of us all. He was oppressed and he was afflicted, but he did not open his mouth. He was led as a lamb to slaughter, and as a sheep before its shearers is silent, but he did not open his mouth. He was taken from prison and from judgment, and for all his generation, who considered that he shall be cut off from the land of the living. For the transgression of my people he was stricken. And he was appointed a burial site with the wrong and with the rich at his death, because he had done no violence, nor was deceit in his mouth. But Yahuwah was pleased to crush him. He laid sickness on him, that when he made himself an offering for guilt, he would see a seed, he would prolong his days, and the pleasure of Yahuwah prospered in his hand. And he would see the result of the suffering of his life and be satisfied through his knowledge. My righteous servant makes many righteous. Through his knowledge, my righteous servant makes many righteous, and he bears their crookedness. Therefore, I give him a portion among the great, and he divides the spoil with the strong, because he poured out his being unto death, and he was counted with the transgressors, and he bore the sins of many, and made intercession for the transgressors. Sing, O barren one who did not bear. Break forth into singing, and cry aloud, you who have not been in labor. For the children of the deserted one are more than the children of the married woman, said Yahuwah. Enlarge the place of your tent, and let them stretch out the curtain of your dwelling. Spare not, lengthen your cords, and strengthen your stakes. For you shall break forth into the right forth to the right and to the left, and your seed inherit the nations, and make the deserted cities inhabited, the nations, the 70 nations. Do not fear, for you shall not be put to shame, nor hurt. You shall not be humiliated, for the shame of your youth you shall forget, and not remember the reproach of your widowhood anymore. For your maker is your husband, Yahuwah of hosts. His name is the set apart one of Israel, is your redeemer. He is called the Elohim of all the earth. For Yahuwah has called you like a woman forsaken and grieved in spirit, like a wife of youth, when you were refused, declares your Elohim. For a little while I have forsaken you, but with great compassion I shall gather you. He divorced Israel, but will gather them back. In an overflow of wrath I hid my face from you for a moment, but with everlasting loving commitment I shall have compassion on you, said Yahuwah, your Redeemer. For this is the waters of Noah to me, in that I have sworn that the waters of Noah would never again cover the earth. So I have sworn not to be wroth with you, nor to rebuke you. For though the mountains will be removed and the hills be shaken, my loving commitment is not removed from you, nor is my covenant of peace shaken, said Yahuwah, who has compassion on you. Let's see, Isaiah goes through 55:5. So, you, O afflicted one, tossed with storm and not comforted, see, I am setting your stones in an antimony, and shall lay your foundations with sapphire, and shall make your battlements of rubies, and your gates of crystal, and all your walls of precious stone, and all your children taught by Yahuwah, and the peace of your children great. In righteousness you shall be established, far from oppression, for you shall not fear, and far from ruin, for it does not come near you. See, they shall indeed assemble, but not because of me. Whoever shall assemble against you falls for your sake. See, I myself have created the blacksmith who blows the coals on the fire, who brings forth the instrument for his work, and I have created the waster to destroy. Yahuwah created the waster to destroy. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue which rises against you in judgment you shall prove wrong. This is the inheritance of the servants of Yahuwah, and their righteousness from me, declares Yahuwah. Oh, everyone who thirsts, come to the waters, and you who have no silver, come and buy and eat. Come, buy wine and milk without silver and without price. Why do you weigh your silver for what is not bread, and your labor for what does not satisfy? Listen to me, and eat what is good, and let your being delight itself in fatness. Incline your ear to come to me. Hear, so that your being lives, and let me make an everlasting covenant with you, an everlasting covenant forever. And trustworthy, loving commitments of David. See, I have given him as a witness to the people, a leader and a commander for the people. See, a nation you do not know, you shall call, and a nation you do not know, you run to you. Because of Yahuwah, your Elohim, and the set apart one of Israel, for he has adorned you. And next is Mark 9:40 through 50. For he who is not against us is for us. For whoever gives you a cup of water to drink in my name, because you are Messiah, because you are of Messiah, truly I say to you, he shall by no means lose his reward. And whoever causes one of these little ones who believes in me to stumble, it is better for him if a millstone were hung around his neck and he were thrown into the sea. And if your hand makes you stumble, cut it off. It is better for you to enter into life crippled than having two hands, to go into Gehenna, into the unquenchable fire. Sometimes we have to sacrifice things that don't serve us. And if something is keeping us from stumbling or causing others to stumble, even though we love it, we have to cut it off. So the unquenchable fire, where the worm does not die and the fire is not quenched. And if your foot makes you stumble, cut it off. It is better for you to enter life crippled than having 2 feet to be thrown into Gehenna, into the unquenchable fire, where the worm does not die and the fire is not quenched. And if your eye makes you stumble, pluck it out. It's better for you to enter into the reign of Elohim with 1 eye than having 2 eyes to be thrown into the fire of Gehenna, where the worm does not die and the fire is not quenched. For everyone shall be seasoned with fire, and every offering shall be seasoned with salt. Salt is good, but if the salt becomes tasteless, how shall you season it? Have salt in yourself and be at peace among one another. Next is Mark 9. Luke. Matthew, Mark, Luke. Luke 1, 1 through 80. Since many have indeed taken in hand to set in order an account of the matters completely confirmed among us, as those who from the beginning were eyewitnesses and servants of the word delivered to them, it seems good to me as well, having followed up all these matters exactly from the beginning, to write to you an orderly account, most excellent Theophilus, that you might know the certainty of the words which you were taught. There was in the days of Herodes, the sovereign of Judah, a certain priest named Zechariah, of the divisions of Abiah, and his wife was of the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elishba. And they were both righteous, so that's Zechariah and Elizabeth. And they were both righteous before Elohim, blamelessly walking in all the commands and righteousness of Yahuwah. And they had no child because Elishba was barren, and both were advanced in years. And it came to be that while he was serving as priest before Elohim in order of his division, so they all had certain times that the priests would go to the temple and serve. They would be doing, the temple duties, lighting of the menorah, putting the showbread on the table, putting the incense. And I think that's what he did, was he put the incense. Let me see. Yep, here we go. In order of his division. According to the institute of the priesthood, he was chosen by lot to burn incense when he went into the dwelling place of Yahuwah. And the entire crowd of the people was praying outside at the hour of incense. And a messenger of Yahuwah appeared to him, standing on the right side of the slaughter place of incense. And when Zechariah saw him, he was troubled, and fear fell upon him. But the messenger said to him, "Do not be afraid, Zechariah, for your prayer is heard, and your wife Elisheba shall bear you a son, and you shall call his name Yohanan, John," which is unusual because normally he would be named after his father. "And you shall have joy and gladness, and many shall rejoice at his birth. For he shall be great before Yahuwah, and shall drink no wine and strong drink at all. And he shall be filled with the set-apart spirit, even from his mother's womb. And he shall turn many of the children of Israel to Yahuwah their Elohim. And he shall go before him in the spirit and the power of Eliyahu, of Elijah, to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the disobedient to the insight of the righteous, to make ready a people prepared for Yahuwah." So this is John the Baptist. "And Zechariah said to the messenger, 'By what shall I know this? For I am old, and my wife is advanced in years.' And the messenger answering said to him, 'I am Gabriel, who stands in the presence of Elohim, and was sent to speak to you and announce to you this good news. But see, you shall be silent and unable to speak until the day this takes place, because you did not believe my words, which shall be filled in their appointed time.' And the people waited for Zechariah and marveled at his delay in the dwelling place. And when he came out, he was unable to speak, and they recognized that he had been sent a vision in the dwelling place, for he was beckoning to them and remaining dumb. And it came to be, as soon as the days of his service were completed, he went away to his house. And after those days, his wife Elisheba conceived, and she hid herself 5 months, saying, it goes to 80. Okay, hid herself 5 months, saying, Yahuwah has done this for me in the days when I looked upon him to take away my reproach among men, because she was childless. And in the 6th month, the messenger Gabriel was sent by Elohim to the city of Galilee named Nazareth, Nazareth, to the maiden engaged to a man whose name was Joseph of the house of David, and the maiden's name was Miriam. And the messenger coming to her said, Greetings, favored one. The master is with you. Blessed are you among women. But she was greatly disturbed at the words and wondered what kind of greeting this was. And the messenger said to her, Do not be afraid, Miriam, for you have found favor with Elohim. And see, you shall conceive in your womb and shall give birth to a son and call his name Yeshua, Jesus. He shall be great and shall be called the Son of the Most High. And Yahuwah Elohim shall give him the throne of his father David. And he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever, and there shall be no end of his reign. And Miriam said to the messenger, How shall this be, since I have not known a man? And the messenger answering said to her, The set-apart spirit shall come upon you, and the power of the Most High shall overshadow you. And for that reason, the set-apart one born of you shall be called Son of Elohim. And see, Elisheba, your relative, has also conceived a son in her old age, and this is now the 6th month to her who was called barren, because with Elohim no matter shall be impossible. And Miriam said, See, the female servant of Yahuwah, let it be to me according to your word. And the messenger went away from her. So John the Baptist was Jesus's cousin, and he was born 6 months before Jesus. So next is 1 Peter 3, 8 through 22. I might be able to get through all of these. Where is it? There it is. This is 1 Peter 3, 8 through 22. To sum up, let all of you be like-minded, sympathetic, loving as brothers, tender-hearted, humble-minded, not returning evil for evil or reviling for reviling, but on the contrary, blessing, knowing that you were called to this in order to inherit a blessing. For he who wishes to love life and see good days, let him keep his tongue from evil and his lips from speaking deceit. Let him turn away from evil and do good. Let him speak peace and pursue it. Because of the eyes of Yahuwah are on the righteous, and the ears are open to their prayers. But the face of Yahuwah is against those who do evil. And who is the one doing evil to you if you become imitators of good? But even if you suffer for righteousness' sake, you are blessed, and do not fear their threats, neither be troubled. But set apart Yahuwah Elohim in your hearts, and always be ready to give an answer to everyone asking you a reason concerning the explanation that is in you with meekness and fear. Having a good conscience, see that when you speak against you as doers of evil, those who falsely accuse you, your good behavior in Messiah shall be ashamed. For it is better if it is the desire of Elohim to suffer for doing good than doing evil. Because even Messiah once suffered for sins, the righteous for the unrighteous, to bring you to Elohim, having been put to death indeed in flesh, but made alive in spirit, in which also he went and proclaimed unto the spirits in prison, who were disobedient at one time when the patience of Elohim waited in the days of Noah, while the ark was being prepared, in which a few, that is, 8 beings, were saved through water, which figure now also saves us, immersion, not a putting away of the filth of flesh, but an answer of a good conscience towards Elohim through the resurrection of Yeshua Messiah, Jesus the Messiah, who is having gone into heaven, is at the right hand of Elohim, messengers and authorities and powers having been subjected to him. And we're just going to finish this on up because it's only a couple of verses. So 2 Peter 2, 4 through 10. 2 Peter 2, 4 through 10. Here we go. For if Elohim did not spare the messengers who sinned, but sent them to Teratos and delivered them into chains of darkness to be kept for judgment, and did not spare the world of old, but preserved Noah, a proclaimer of righteousness, and 7 others, bringing in the flood on the world of wickedness, and having reduced to ashes the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, condemned them to destruction, having made them an example to those who afterwards would live wickedly, and rescued righteousness, Lot, who was oppressed with the indecent behavior of the lawless. For the day after day, the righteous man dwelling among them tortured his righteous being by seeing and hearing their lawless works. Then Yahuwah knows how to rescue the reverent ones from trial and to keep the unrighteous unto the day of judgment to be punished. And most of all, those walking after the flesh in filthy lusts and despising authority, bold, headstrong, and speaking evil in the esteemed ones. There we have it. Praise Yah that I was able to get it done, and hopefully this will all get uploaded correctly. Father Yah, thank you so much for helping me to get this done. Once again, bless everyone who listens and watches this video. Help us to learn how to walk the way you want us to walk. In Yahushua's mighty name, amen. Be blessed and shalom. And now I don't know what to do. How do I stop it? Oh my goodness, I hope this works. Are you wanting to stop streaming? Okay.